Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about what is net worth. So let's jump right into it. So net worth is the difference between what you own and what you owe. And with that, you are looking at your assets minus your liabilities, and what is left over is your net worth. And so that's why I had you go through that process in yesterday's episode of writing down everything that you own under your assets and everything that you owe under your liabilities. Now with that, this is just a financial indicator of your monetary net worth. This isn't a reflection on you as an individual necessarily, but it is a good indicator to not only know what it is, but also know how to track it. So if your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities, the first step in the process really comes down to looking at your assets one by one. Now, the most expensive asset that people typically have, and the first one I would recommend you putting on the list, if you have one, is your home. Your home will be the first one, and you'll want to put the total value of that home. So you can look on various home locating services. You could look based on a last appraisal that you had, or even go into further depth by reaching out to a realtor that can give you comps of your neighborhood. But with that, you just want to put an estimate in there for your home. The next step in the process comes down to putting any vehicles you own, and even if they have a loan, again, putting those down as their value in the marketplace. So you may want to use a service like Kelley Blue Book or NADA in order to determine the value of those vehicles. From that point, you'll want to look at any kind of retirement accounts, any kind of assets, otherwise, whether it's Bitcoin or cash, or it's household items of monetary value, and being able to go through and looking at all of those assets and then totaling them at the bottom. So with that, that may be a little bit of a process for you if you do own a home, if you have multiple vehicles, and so on and so forth. But this initial process is going to be important for the system that we set up to automate that. Now, the second step in the process comes down to building out your liabilities. Now, from that standpoint, you'll have your liabilities that will be your actual mortgage on your property if you have a mortgage. It may be your auto loans for the vehicles you own, or it may be various leases you have or other obligations that you have. But listing those one by one down your liabilities side of the equation will be important so that you can get a full picture of what you own and what you owe. Now, simply stated, the last step in the process literally comes down to you taking what you own, which is your assets, minus what you owe under your liabilities, and seeing what that figure is. Now, it may be something that's very surprising to you. And I oftentimes run into this because many people have not tracked this and do not track this figure. But what you want to look at is what that number is, because that will give you a starting point based on being able to look at where you want it to be and also where it needs to be in order for you to retire on time. So looking into data related to net worth, I found an article that's a little bit dated at this point, but was very informative. And that article was written by the Federal Reserve's Triennial Consumer Finance Survey. And they found that the average net worth of all U.S. families is $692,100, which I felt like seemed high. But with that, they further broke down the net worth based on age groups. And so they found that those under the age of 35 had an average net worth of $76,200. Those in the age group of 35 to 44 had a net worth on average of $288,700. Those in the age group of 45 to 54 had an average net worth of $727,500. Those in the age group of 55 to 64 had an average net worth of $1,167,400. And those in the age group of 65 to 74 had a net worth on average of $1,066,000. And then the final group they went into had to do with those above 75. So with that, they found that that group in particular had an average net worth of $1,067,000. And so with that, I found that it was really interesting that they did an average, but then I read further and I found that they had an above average grouping. And so I thought that it would be interesting to go over that as well. So you can see how your net worth compares to those in that average group and those in the above average group as well. So looking into this above average group, they basically found that those with a net worth above average had to hit a certain benchmark by a certain age. Now that age group went by an increment of 5 years. And so with that, they stated that by the age of 30, in order to be in the above average net worth position, that you had to have a net worth of $250,000. Those who had hit the age of 35 would have to have the net worth of $429,000. Those at the age of 40 would have a net worth of $660,000. Those at the age of 45 would have the net worth of $914,000. Those at the age of 50 would have the net worth of $1,240,250. And those that hit the age of 55 would then have a correlated net worth of $1,684,000. So the last group on this was by the age of 60. Now, by the age of 60, in order to be above average in accumulation of net worth, they basically stated that you had to have a net worth of $2,180,250. Now, you may be pleasantly surprised by the net worth that you came up with by taking your assets minus your liabilities, or you may be pretty discouraged by it. But what I would encourage you to do is to go through this process of looking at where things actually sit and why. And looking at, okay, do I have a large amount of liabilities compared to my assets? Do I have a lot of loans on items like an auto loan, a student loan, or healthcare related medical bills that don't have an asset necessarily that is climbing in value, that they could compare that to. And so with that, it's important to look at your assets and your liabilities and your resulting net worth and being able to see, okay, where am I at today and where do I want to be? And then from that point, being able to build that margin into your personal finances in order to continuously work to build up your assets and simultaneously reduce your liabilities to pay off debt and to really work in order to build the spread between what you own and what you owe. So although this initial exercise is important to write down all of those components, there's actually a way to streamline your legwork, and something that I utilize myself is called personal capital. Now, personal capital gives you the ability to go through the process of entering in all of those asset related items, all those bank accounts, any other aspects that would be considered an asset, and then also capture all of the liabilities. Now from that, it'll auto calculate on a regular basis what your net worth is. And so I would encourage you to go through that process, because that would streamline it after this initial walkthrough, to ensure that you don't have to manually calculate your net worth on a regular basis. So my call to action today comes down to actually calculating your net worth. Now you may choose to initially write down those items, write down those aspects of your assets and liabilities. But going forward, you should look into a software like Personal Capital or another resource that would be able to track that net worth for you. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis and improve in managing your personal finances. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.